Hey everyone, Sean here with BlueRidgeSilverhound, and welcome back to the Pocket Change Market Report for September 26, 2024. I'm just going to go out and say it. Now's the time to strike. All right, if you guys have some of these coins and you're looking to move them, the market is incredibly active right now. Lots of coins are being sold. It was hard to pick just 25 coins, all coming from within the last like 24 hours, right? You have to take into consideration the holiday season and how important it is to the hobby. There's a very short window between now and right around midway through December. This is the open door, folks. If you had found some of these pretty nice errors and varieties and various other type coins as well, yeah, things are looking very up right now. So stay tuned as we embark on this journey of looking through eBay sales for some of the more relevant pieces that have been found out there in circulation and in general in the wild. You can even find these at coin shops unattributed. Then things are looking up. But of course, we talk only really about raw coins. We don't talk about graded coins in this video. The idea is you find it and then you sell it. You go ahead and list it on eBay and take advantage of the market in that aspect. The good news is errors and varieties, they sell themselves. If they're correctly attributed or diagnosed, then you're going to have no problem whatsoever making that sale. All right, so we're going to take a look at the top selections here from the last day or so. You guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. I think we're making history here on a few of these coins. A few of them that we've never seen before, and a few of them that, you know, at one point were very impactful and people were enjoying finding them. And then they kind of disappeared, and now they're back. So we're going to explore all of those. It's going to be a medley for the eyes. All right. So before we jump right in here, not only do I sell on eBay, but I also sell on this platform called Whatnot, one of the fastest growing live auction platforms to date. And we have some pretty big events coming up. If you guys remember last holiday season, we were just having all sorts of fun, selling lots of nice pieces of all different budgets for the people. All right, and that's what we do. So we have a ton of shows going on right now. We are actually in the midst of a Sacramento Valley Coin Club show, which is a 3-day event, and you know what that means. It's going to be more shows. I've been buying a lot of collections. I've been just really doing the thing to get some more nice pieces out to the masses. And yeah, we are continuing on this tradition. Now, keep in mind, for this month only, September Showdown event continues. For every one item that you do buy, you get an entry into the end of month giveaway. It's going to be a banger. You guys are going to have fun. If you are right now participating, good job. All it takes is one purchase, just one entry, and you are in. So we generally give away about $1,500 to $2,000 worth of inventory during these showdown events. We have one here that's fast approaching till the end of the month. We're gonna do our draw on September 30th, the last day of the month. So if you haven't joined up yet, go ahead and do so as a buyer. You'll receive $15 in store credit on me. Use it right away on your first purchase, and that's going to give you your first entry into the end of month giveaway. All right, so go ahead and follow that referral link down below and sign up today, or else I'm coming for you. Not really, not in that regard. But also on the other side of things, Whatnot is looking, and they are anticipating for a very busy holiday season. They're looking for new sellers, motivated sellers to join the platform and to sell your thing, whether it's coins, paper money, perhaps comic books, sports cards, whatever your flavor is. They're looking for some spirited folks, guys. They are matching right now, a limited time promo. They are matching up to $150 in sales for your first 7 days. So you sign up, you get in, you go ahead and you do your first show. They will match every bit, dollar for dollar, up to the first $150. And you have to take advantage of it in your first 7 days. of being this big, huge, big time seller. You know, it's one of my favorite platforms, and again, with the growth that's happening here, they're just going to continue to get much bigger. All right, let's go ahead and jump into these selections, guys. Again, we have some new ones like this one here. We've never talked about as recently as about a year ago, 2 years ago, when the newest Cherry Pickers Guide came out. This was one of the new additions. This is the 1953S Roosevelt dime. Okay, take note of the coin. It is a silver. It's okay. It's a very cheap silver to obtain in high grades. Okay, these were minted quite heavily. Now, I want you to take note at the little plant to the left of um, the torch there on the reverse, because that's going to be the important part of it. There's the two little buds that are on there. One is shaped a little bit differently. All right, so when we look up close here, that little bud or that seed that's right above the L in pluribus. All right, it's got a little flared out design to it, maybe a little die chip. They actually call this the acorn variety. It's not supposed to look like that. So this particular one is also a Cherry Pickers Guide variety. It's designated as the FS901. Now this is one of the hot kids on the block. And as you notice, this one even has some pretty nice, phenomenal looking die cracks all across the coin as well. This particular example, keeping in mind, you could pick up this coin for maybe $3-4 in this condition. You cherry pick the right one, and it's going to be a banger. This one ended up selling for $53.65, right? I mean, it couldn't be easier. If you can locate these, you're going to have something, some ammunition for your holiday sales events. And this is, yet again, another prime example of such a large natural flip, because of a unattributed variety that the first owner didn't even know was on there. And now, because of your education, you will know that this one is a thing. And it did really well here on eBay yesterday. Our next coin that we have here is a Silver Wartime 43P, all right? So these are the good old 35% silver manganese alloy coins as a way of rationing nickel during the war, World War II that is. The U.S. Mint had completely changed up the compositions. So now we have silver nickels. And one of the big issues with these, annealing. There were a lot of lamination issues on these particular coins. We have yet again another one here. When you look at the reverse under the T of Monticello, it's a planchet defect. Probably more closely akin to what we call lamination peel. All right, that's what we have here. So this is a coin customarily that you could probably pick up in this condition for about $5 to $7. This one ended up selling for $19.95. Easy $10 profit. All right, so make sure you're aware that these small little mint errors certainly do have a time in the sun for collectors. There's going to be collectors for every conceivable coin out there as long as it's priced right. 1988P Washington Quarter. Another cool one here. This one has two clips. Count them, two on there. Now, one clip is okay. That's worth more than a quarter. We could, kind of make that assessment there. But anything more than one clip is just, it's gravy on the proverbial, train, I guess. The gravy train. So this one right here, two clips, $29.69. A single clip normally sells for less than half that. All right, they're usually $8 to $10 coins and are very, very plentiful out there in circulation. This one looks like it's circulated a little bit. All right, we also talk and cover paper money. We have our first one here. And if you know what you're looking for, and sometimes dealers overlook these when they're not stretched out at all. This one is what they call a gutter fold, this time on 1935E series silver certificate. So you can see that unprinted line there on the right side was actually at one point a wrinkle in the subject sheet. So when that wrinkle's there, it gets printed over, and then it leads to a dramatic effect like this. The more gutter folds on the note, the more valuable they are. Right, and then obviously age plays a deciding factor, And so does condition. Condition still does matter with a few things here in the hobby. Well, when we look at the reverse, you could see that same very gutter fold, this time on the left side of the note there. And I'm happy to report that this one ended up selling for $99.95. So far, the theme, none of these pieces are graded. You know, save that money, keep the $30 to $50 in your pocket, and you'll do good. And here's one that a lot of people tend to forget, and it does exist. Now, it's a rather common variety type. It isn't in the Cherry Picker's Guide. 1979, and this is only on the Philadelphia minted examples, Susan B. Anthony dollar. This one right here is what we call the wide rim. Some people call it the wide date, but wide rim is the more appropriate name. That's the one that's been carried over for years. And the rim, that inside cut of the rim actually goes all the way up to the date. The regular narrow rim variety, there's more room between the bottom of the one and that rim. Very easy to note. I also wanted to point out that this one particular coin can be found in the 3-coin PDNS sets from the mint. All right, I found a number of them over the years. They are an easy cherry pick. Oftentimes you could even spot these with the naked eye, which is good. This one right here, a little bit of circulation wear. It's got some carbon spotting as well, and that, you know, kind of stands the reason why that this one is suppressed in value. It only sold for $7.80. But ladies and gentlemen, let's keep in mind that's 7 times face value. When you're guaranteed those kind of returns, you got to take it all day long. And another good one here, and boy, this thing looks shot. But to a collector that's looking for a low ball, affordable example, this is kind of like the end of the road here. Believe it or not, this is a 1922 plain no mint mark Lincoln wheat cent. This one also has what we call the weak reverse. There's 4 different die pairings of this particular coin. And the ones that are worth the most have the strong, well-struck reverse. This one does not have that. And not to mention that it has a myriad of different issues. So as you guys know, in 1922, they only made 1922 dated coins with the Denver mint mark. They were only produced at the Denver facility. There were no Philadelphias made. Now, there were a few examples that were struck, and this one looks every bit like a 1922. You can actually see the date there, 1922. Usually, these would have a strong, well-struck mint mark. Some would be rather weak to a point where you can barely see it, or completely missing. Okay, and that could be attributed to like a clogged die issue or a strike through, so, you know, something to that effect. This one right here, at its core, at its most budget of levels, ended up selling for $119.95, and the thing is like toast. This coin, if you absolutely need it, it represents kind of that floor for a beater problem coin. This one is that all day long. And this particular one right here, 1974S Ike Dollar. This is actually a 40% silver proof. And this particular one is on the list because of the toning. The toning on this coin actually develops in the GSA slab. All right, there's some of the chemicals in the slab and its components that create this kind of foggy, more on the pastel side of toning. Some people like it and some people don't. But the people that do like it, they're willing to pay more than, than your average bear. This particular one ended up selling in total with tax for $23.70. So, these GSA Ike dollars, they tend to fall around $15 to $17 in the containers, what we call them, the GSAs. So, something to be aware of. If you see one with this kind of toning, they have a little marginal premium to them, probably enough to sell and make a couple bucks on. Here's a 2-coin lot. Now, I love looking for lots. I haven't seen a whole lot of lots here recently. They come in spurts sometimes. But we have 2 off-center struck Lincoln Memorial cents, each one a copper-plated zinc composition. So probably your least desirable type. So we have two coins here. One is struck off center by roughly 80%. The other one struck way off center, probably 95% there. You know, could there be an opportunity to buy up this two coin lot and then flip them for a profit? Maybe. So the two coins sold for $20.63 with 22 bids. So this one was organically bid up. And usually I tell folks, look out for lots because they're considered bulk. They're going to sell for less per piece. The average per piece price is going to be a lot lower than, say, if you bought a singular coin. So you'll buy this, you'll list each coin individually. And me personally, I'd probably list them at like $19.99, buy it now. And then at the end of the day, you'll profit not quite 2x, pretty close. You know, maybe 80%, somewhere around there. I mean, that's a pretty good gig. And that's a way that you can enhance your eBay store if you're looking to grow it, is by offering coins like this. Something diversified, something that that collectors would like. And because off-center strikes come in all different shapes and sizes and things like that, you know, it's actually one of those things that I have a regular amount of buyers for. All right, I'm not going to have any issues selling coins like this. Another one here, although this is kind of the more desirable type of out-of-color strike. This is what they call a double struck with a uniface reverse. So there's no strike on the off-center portion of the reverse on there, just on the front. So 1980, could be a P or D, one of the two. I'm probably leaning more toward a Philadelphia. This looks like a Philadelphia type of screw-up. So that secondary strike is, I don't know, what, 80% off center? Somewhere around there. This one here sold for $75, and that is indeed kind of like the going rate for some of these coins. The copper-plated zinc double strikes are not as desirable, but you would be surprised a lot of them still sell for like 35 to 50 bucks on average. And one of my favorite Civil War tokens, this is actually a very common one. This is the Broadstruck Pie Baker New York Civil War token. They're all dated 1863. And you can see why. You know, at one point, 10, 12 years ago, you know, you could waltz right into a coin shop and buy this thing for 25 bucks. They have since gone up in value because of its look. It's got a shattered die obverse, you know, with all the die cracks, and on the reverse, you have a really phenomenal looking die clash. All right, so it's kind of like a 1-2 punch. Very polarizing looking coin, to be sure. This one ended up selling for $66 with 30 bids. So again, everybody and their brother wanted this one, and, you know, I could see why. This thing is a stunner. 1988A $1 bill. What's going on here? Yeah, there's something missing, you know, serial numbers and district seals and all the good stuff. It's far from the perfect note, and it's crazy. And I've talked about this before, how much these notes, as off as they are, they still manage to circulate quite a bit. Like, you know, no one, and this is just like a sign of the times, like no one was really ever paying attention to their paper money. You know, they would fold it up, just put it in their wallet, put it in their purse, whatever. So what happened to overprint on this one? And as you can tell, it's got staining all over there. It's a problem note. Yeah, they printed it on the back. So the whole subject sheet was flipped over in that stack. And this one came time to print it. Yeah, there's probably a whole bunch of other notes that were printed alongside this one that's within range of the serial number. If you had a magnifier, you could get up close and read the serial number on there. But yeah, again, one of your zany, wild paper money errors. Again, highly desired. This one right here ended up selling for $162.62 with 9 bids. Traditionally, these I've seen go up, you know, $300 at the minimum. But because of all the staining and stuff on there like that, it's, again, it withheld the value a little bit and couldn't quite reach its full potential. 1977A $1 bill, another nice one here. Looks like just a regular run-of-the-mill note. And, you know, just like coins, you want to look at both sides. Yeah, you don't know what you're going to miss, so be careful with that. Flip that puppy over and you're going to find this thing here, which is a front to back wet ink transfer. Okay, it's quite light, not quite 100%. It's close. The bottom left, is missing a clip of it, so it wasn't completely transferred. This one right here sold for $157.29 with 21 total bids. So, like a die clash, the printing plate area made contact with the impression cylinder where the sheet normally sits on. And, since there was no sheet, the ink and the design is going to transfer onto the impression cylinder. So when the next subject sheet actually feeds in correctly, it's going to receive some of that phantom print that's on the impression cylinder. So again, very similar to die clash. They're all quite neat, but you also want to make sure for legitimacy that the transfer is going to be mirrored. It's going to be backwards. So you see where it says Federal Reserve Note at the top, it's backwards, and that's how it needs to be read. Pretty cool one here. This thing's quite radical, but again, we're talking about copper-plated zinking. 1983 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one is both Broadstruck. So if you just looked at the full coin there, it's Broadstruck, and also a partial brockage indent. So there was two finished coins overlapping each other, and they were offset out of color, of course, thereby creating this monster. They were having issues with the mint presses that day, I would imagine. This one ended up selling, again, for a nice tidy sum of $196.86 with 13 bids. So, again, it proves the point that you don't need to grade some of these higher end pieces like this. They speak for themselves. It's really, really difficult to fake something like this. I'm sure some people have tried, but, they end up not, fulfilling what they need to in order to make them look convincing, which is, most of the battle. It's just really hard to fake something like this. And I know I keep talking about this, but guys, flip over your Jefferson nickels every single date, because there were quite a few rotated die errors. Like this one here, and thanks to the power of photography and those staples, and the way that they're positioned, you could totally tell that this one is a pretty wild rotated die. They said 80 degrees is what it is there. And this one had circulated quite a bit, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know what it is if you don't flip it over proper. So yeah, always flip over your coins, and if they don't turn like normal, then you're going to end up with a pretty interesting mint error. And, they're very valuable, like I had mentioned. $32.29. The more recent and nicer condition pieces I've seen sell upwards of $75 to $100. So keep that in mind. And one of my favorites, 2022 Philadelphia. These are Philadelphia struck, by the way. Wilma Mankiller quarter with the big, large retained cud right on top of Washington's head. You can either find these with the single cud or the double-sided cud. This one has what looks to be an early progression of that reverse cud. You can see the die crack going from E and R in America to the tip of the star there. Still valuable. I was shocked that this one had dropped down a lot more, but because of how strong and powerful this one is, it's understandable that this one ended up selling for $194.99. Back in 2022, a couple years ago, they were still selling for around $250. So they did not depreciate a whole lot. And this one does have a little light smidge of circulation wear. I'd probably still call it BU. And another favorite of mine, 2000 piece Sacagawea dollar, called the Wounded Eagle Reverse Variety. It's the FS901 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. So these were notorious for being found in vending machines, so make sure you're checking these out. They're Philadelphia minted, so they'll have a P mint mark, but check out the two raised die gouges going through the breast feathers of the eagle there. So that's why they call it the Wounded Eagle. It looks like a couple spears going through the body there. $129.24 on your sale. Nice one there too. Undated Roosevelt dime that was struck through a late stage, probably a somewhat later stage cap die. So there was a actual coin stuck to the die and never dislodged, and it was striking other coins with that cap on there. This one sold for $60.20 with 10 bids. Again, another very, very nice sale. 1974 Washington quarter. This time it's an off-center struck piece, about 10%. I've seen this date before. It's actually quite common. Usually like 74, 72, 73. These are kind of like a trio of dated Washingtons that are quite available, off-center struck. This one right here is a nice BU example too. This one sold for $28. Some of the more scarce dates, like the bicentennial date, 76. That's a huge one. If you're able to find a mint error of any type on a bicentennial quarter, you're going to be enjoying a rich sum of money there. 1972 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This one's off center by about 65%, give or take. And keeping in mind that the desirability here with these coins is that you have a full readable date and mint mark. Do you find these in circulation? Most likely not. Someone's going to say it. They usually do in every video that I do on the PCMR. Probably not likely you'll find this in circulation. I have found a few in circulation. I just found a blank planchet out of a roll of Lincoln cents here within the last day or two. So anything is possible. And, this one right here, these are collected by date. So there are folks that collect by decade, by entire series, things like that. This one sold for $40. I mean, that's a top flight amount of cash for this. And keep in mind, these are cherry picked quite often at coin shows. Dealers who really don't care about mint errors or varieties, they'll just throw it out there with a $5 price tag. And I recognize deals like this all day long. So if you are going to your next show, look out for these. They're usually going to be in like a bargain bin. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when you can identify and pull these in. Here's a 1955 S Lincoln Wheat Cent. What's so crazy about this one? In fact, that's a nice lower mintage date. This one has a few spots and maybe a fingerprint on there. But how about this BIE die chip? This is actually a die chip that has formed between the B and E and Liberty. If we went back to the previous picture, you can actually see it there. But in any event, these are very well collected. A lot of them are already attributed on websites like cudsoncoins.com. This one sold for $13.95. 55S and 55D are the two most common dates for BIE die chips, but they exist through a large range of different dates of Lincoln cents, even going into the much more modern dates as well. I haven't seen one of these in a minute. Washington quarter, don't know what the date is. It does have a physical P mint mark, so that kind of eliminates things. This one has a big, large, giant cud die break right over the date. All right, so it's not from the 2000s because it's not a state quarter or anything. But yeah, I mean, a large piece of the die, after so many strikes and the wear and tear, did finally tap out and, broke off completely. You're going to have the weakness on that same area on the reverse, so keep that in mind. This one here sold for $128.95, and then we have one of our favorites here. Long live the Tuskegee Airmen. Burning building strike through is what this one is. So there's a strike through right on that building on the reverse. 2021P. These used to be kind of like the talk of the town a couple years ago. They were selling as high as $300 for the much larger ones. They've since come down, but again, admittedly, a lot of them are circulated. The nice gem examples sell right around $100. But there you go. That's your strike through. They call it field restricted as well. And what did we do here? $29.36. Not bad for a coin that's circulated and one of the smaller burning building strike throughs you will ever encounter. Well, I got to tell you, the market for BU rolls is pretty insane right now. One in particular, 1972p, the Philadelphia minted coins, is most notably the Lincoln cents. So 1972 Lincoln cents. I wonder why. It might be because there's a whole bunch of incredibly rare and valuable doubled dies on this date. You know, there's like 9 of them attributed in the Cherry Picker's Guide. So one single roll sold for $34.95. All the while, every single other date of Lincoln Memorial, they tend to sell in that $6 to $10 range. So 72, definitely one of the bigger, most hottest dates around. And you would be opening these if you had them. I'm sure the prices will continue to jump up as time goes on, only because, you know, at that point, supply is going to be dwindling. And we're going to end things off here on a pair of just absolutely insane coins. Coins and cards, back at it again. This time a raw and very pretty 1983 Lincoln Memorial set. This is the dubious doubled die reverse. I mean, you can see the doubling on there. This one is not escaping anybody's eyeballs. It's the FS801 in the Cherry Picker's Guide. And where are we at on this one? How about $200 on the sale price with 30 bids? So this one, you know, if you can imagine, coins and cards probably started it at 99 cents. And people throughout, you know, the week have been bidding this one up. These are getting increasingly scarce to find in decent shape. A lot of them are quite beat up and with a myriad of stains and spots. And the final coin, if this puppy is real, man, I'm telling you, this has got to be probably, bar none, the most awesomest, most ridiculous, most wonderful, visually appealing, double struck in collar errors ever. 1960D is the date on this one. You can actually see the dual dates there on the obverse. What leads me to believe that this one might be more real is the fact that the secondary or the first initial impression is still raised all throughout and not incuse, which is pushed into the coin. What leads me to believe that this one might not be real is how beat up a few areas on the rims are. All right, so it's been documented and known that this type of error has been replicated using false dies. So keep that in mind. This one kind of has that looks too good to be true vibe to it, because I've seen other double struck in collar errors before, and they're not nearly as vibrant and robust as this one. And here's kind of the problem. The bidding went astronomically high on this. $332.55, 35 bids. I don't know. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Real or fake as far as the error is concerned. But there you go. That's, you know, kind of like the roundup of the PCMR and all the coins associated with that from the last day. Information provided is for educational use only. Nothing is financial advice in this video. Please do collect and or grade your coins responsibly like always. Thank you all again. I hope this video was able to give you some forward inspiration to do some of your hunts on your own. I know it does me. Every time I do this, I'm like, I've been missing out. And there's a lot to look for out there and a lot to cash in on. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys again for your beautiful amount of support. I really do appreciate it. I will see you guys next time. And keep on collecting, my friends.